All right, we're looking at section 3.2 today, integer subtraction. All right, so you just got done adding different types of integers, positive and negative integers. Now we're going to deal with subtracting them. All right, so there's three possible meanings of a negative sign that I want you to realize, okay? So whenever you see this subtraction sign, it could be subtraction, it could be minus, it could be less than, it could be the difference, it could be a loss. All right, so there's a lot of different meanings, but three possible meanings that you're going to deal with when we're dealing with equations is going to be that it's a negative, subtraction minus, or it's the opposite. So right here, the opposite of negative 2, right, is positive 2. So when you subtract a negative number, it's the opposite of a negative 2. So opposite of negative is positive. All right, so at any time, I'm going too fast, please pause the video, write down the notes, and then listen along. Okay, you can listen first, then write it down. And write it down and then rewind it and listen. Up to you, okay? But just know you can rewind it, fast forward after you got things done, all right? Subtraction is adding the opposite, all right? So another way of saying I'm going to subtract something is I'm going to add a negative number. Subtracting a negative is adding a positive, okay? So remember, opposite of a negative is a positive. So subtracting a negative, or the opposite of a negative, is going to be a positive. All right? So here's some examples. Let me move that down. A minus B is the same as saying A plus negative B. And A minus negative B is the same as saying A plus B. Why? Because minus is the same as taking the opposite. The same as saying opposite. So opposite negative B, opposite of negative B, positive B. All right? So it's just getting to know that these negative signs can mean more than just simple minus. Okay, it can also mean opposite. So whenever you see a minus minus between two variables, minus minus, we're going to change the sign to a positive because the opposite of a negative is a positive. All right, so we're going to do some examples and then you'll have part 2 to look at and some classwork practice. All right, so there's different ways of looking at subtraction. All right, we got a model for subtraction, a takeaway model, and a put together model. So I'm going to start by the takeaway model. If I have six positive integers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm going to take away 4. So if I take away 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm left with 2. All right, 2 positives. Now, if I use the put together method, I could have 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I have my negative 4. Well, with a positive and a negative, they cancel out. So I'm going to put them together, and what's left? 2 positives. So my answer will be positive 2. That's the way we could deal with subtraction, but eventually you're going to get so good you're just going to do it in your head and you won't need to write anything down. But to help you understand integers, you can definitely use these models. There's also slide models we can use. All right, and you're going to see this. We'll have some practice with this, but if we use like a number line. So if I use this slide model, I start at 2, so here's where I'm starting, and negative 4. So negative goes left, positive goes right. Negative goes left, positive goes right. So 2, if I'm starting at 2, and I'm going to go left 4, negative 4, left 4. So 1 hole, 2 hole, 3 hole, 4 hole. I end up right here, which is at negative 2. All right, so my answer will be negative 2. If I look right here, I got 3 plus negative 1. So I'm going to start at 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to the left 1. plus negative 1, to the left 1. So I end up at 2. All right, so we could use the number line, we could use takeaway method, put together method, but eventually you're going to get so good that you're going to be able to just do it in your head, okay? Think about it in your head. So another method would be to add the opposite, right? And this is what we did in the last section. So let's say 2 minus 4, I can change that to be 2 plus negative 4, right? So now I am subtracting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the difference between the two numbers. It's 2. Which integer in its absolute value is bigger? So 4 is bigger because it's 4 units away from 0. So I'm going to use that sign. All right, so that's another way. And we'll get better as we practice with that as well. Okay, so we're going to go to part 2 now. You're going to have a worksheet, and we're going to practice through that worksheet on part 2, the second video, and then you're going to have some practice where you can ask Mr. Lacey questions about how to do a problem if you get stuck, okay? But you should be pretty good. All right, take care.